Hey, how's everybody doing? How's it going, guys? This is Tales from the Consumer. This is Our Lady Renee. We're representing that, and we have a new show, new segment we're going to be doing called Movie Date Night with Drew and Rican. And we're going to have different guests and different people and different discussions about movie reviews of movies that are going on now, and we're going to be doing some of the past as well. We want to introduce our guest, Lady Laura. Here she is, and we know Laura from the channel Knights of the Dragon, and we thought, hey, we would have Laura on the show because it's going to be kind of different. You guys are thinking that Laura is going to be talking about comic books and all sorts of things. She's actually not a big comic book fan, but we're on Tales of the Consumer, and we're going to get an opinion of somebody that's not really a comic book fan and see what they have to say about two guys that know a lot about comic books and comic book movies to see if it's something, hey, maybe she could be interested in, or you know what, maybe not. And here's why. And here's why on the other side. So I think that's really good to get different perspectives on things and an interesting way to build cool conversations. So let's get into it. Rican and we did check out the new Deadpool and Wolverine. We were super excited to see it because the return of Hugh Jackman. We thought he was retired. Yeah, we thought he was done. We thought he wasn't going to come back. But he got a lot of people really, really kind of riding on him, convincing him, and he came back as Wolverine. And this is his best performance as Wolverine besides Logan. Which was more of a dramatic kind of take, but if you want the traditional Wolverine, you want blue and yellow with the black stripes, you want the claws coming out and leaning out, you want that Wolverine, they definitely bring that Wolverine to you. So I was pretty excited to see that and see that glorious suit, man.
Yeah, they did a good job.
I was 4. Yes, it did. Rican, go for it. I want to hear what you got to say. I'm rambling.
Yeah, let's start with Wolvie, right? You want to start with Wolvie?
Yes.
Of course, expectations is high because Wolvie is such a beloved character, and Hugh's been doing such a good job. I personally, one of my favorite ones is the Japanese Wolverine one, where he fights Silver Samurai at the end. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of Hugh's best outings is Wolverine. I love the Japanese one. We've been enjoying those movies for years, man. And this movie was good because it jumped right into it. You know what I mean? And it really always had the action and had the humor. But Wolvie was I like the multiverse part of it because if you follow the comics, there's so many different versions of Wolverine. And without spoiling it, they kind of, when he went through the multiverse a little bit, and he was seeing all the different versions of Wolverine. That was like a highlight for me. There was the Weapon X version. Because I've seen these action figures and I've seen them in the comics. So when they did, kind of like in the Multiverse of Madness, when he jumped through all the timelines and all the other stuff, it was really cool to watch them go through the different Wolverines and stuff. So Hugh did a good job, man, like he always did. And I think you're right. Yup, he captured the essence of the yellow and blue, definitely, without a doubt. And I like that he was kind of the lost Wolverine that kind of let his whole universe down. So he was seeking redemption, I like the Brown too. So it was cool. I think they did a good job with Wolverine. What did you think of Deadpool and some of the other characters? The debut of Gambit, What do you think, bro? You love Gambit so much.
Gambit is my favorite Marvel character of all time. Wolverine was, but I'm old enough to where in 1990, when they first created Gambit, and X-Men Annual number 14, if I remember correctly, was his first appearance. And I saw Gambit and instantly fell in love with Gambit. And then Gambit ended up being the number 1 and Wolverine ended up being the number 2. So I'm all about Remy LeBeau whenever he decides to show up. And, he's kind of been a hit and miss because they were supposed to give him his own movie. And now, hey, we've got him. There he is. We get to check him out. It's more of a comedic turn on him, but they do, when it gets down to what they do, he does show up. And that's why I was like, there he is. there he is. And the way they tried to do it, I kind of got what they were going. So I was like, okay, that's cool that they at least gave us that. And they
Right.
were trying
I
to
agree. Finally, that was long overdue. The Channing Tatum saga. Remember when that hit the news back in the day?
Yeah, I remember they were talking. I was actually, was I there at that Comic-Con when they announced the
That
next?
was around when Origins was coming out. Remember?
Yeah, they were, because they had announced it at a Comic-Con, and I might have been there at San
And I,
Diego when they announced it, and they had them all, because it was either that or they were announcing more Avengers. I was there one year, and Chris Helmsworth was leaning over and waved. So I'm trying to think if that was the year I was at Comic-Con. But anyway, they did do a whole press kit where they had Channing Tatum come out, and they were supposed to do the Gambit movie. And that ended up getting shut down because of the sale between Fox and Disney. And they were kind of changing up things. So then that got put on the back burner. So to see him show up and my favorite character of all time from Marvel be there, as well as my second, Wolverine, I mean, the only thing that could have made it better was a Gambit and Wolverine team up. And that's my favorite thing. When Gambit and Wolverine teamed up,
that was another highlight. This was
man,
the issue I wanted to cover. Do you remember when they brought this issue up with the cross?
Yes, that was the Reavers' whole run when you were out in Australia, and they put him on that cross.
That's such an iconic key. Shout to Double Dragon Comics. Y'all know what I do. Watching all the books fluctuate.
Yeah.
So when they went through the multiverse and they had all those versions, it's cool for my market because then all those books start spiking. People start looking for them.
I actually had that Uncanny issue, the original one. I had it for many, many years. So
that was my favorite part when they went through all that and they did all the flash forwards and flashbacks through the timelines, and they were showing all the iconic Wolverine moments. That was great. So I want to talk about Deadpool as a character.
Okay.
Right? I want to talk about a little bit of just making him a little too obnoxious, right? He's a little derivative from the actual Deadpool we know and love from the comics, right? At least guys like us. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the team up, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you definitely want to not watch now because we're going to talk about the ending a little bit. But when I saw Blade, that was a moment for me. I wanted to cheer. I was like, yeah, nice. Because, I respect the Blade movies. I still throw them on from time to time. The Captain America switcheroo, that was hilarious. I thought that was great. Right? Yeah. The Chris Evans part. I love seeing Chris Evans in the MCU. I'm not sure how I feel about Casanova. Right? I definitely want you to cover the bad guy.
Oh, Cassandra Nova?
Cassandra Nova,
yeah. Yeah, I could talk all about that.
And just overall, who shined, who didn't, character development, plot, give it a rating, and then I'll give you mine. Basically sum it up for me, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
All right. You want me to give you a rating?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. So if I'm going to give it a couple levels. So as an overall movie, I would say, it's about an 8 for me. And I'm going to say why. Okay, because they obviously put their time into it. There were some great things in it. But my thing is this. I only liked Deadpool when he first came out in the comic books, and he was just a merc with the mouth, like he was just sarcastic, but he was cool. He's like that cool assassin that they would hire that was just kind of mouthy. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But then they took him to another place, where they just made him way over the top, way goofy. And then the movies took that, and of course, took that to a whole nother level. So that's why I give it an 8, because they spent too much time with just the Deadpool goofiness.
Yeah.
It was just kind of overkill for me. I know people are going to be like, well, in the comics now, they do that. Yeah, that's now. But I didn't like the now. I like the past when they kept him, when he showed up in X-Force, and when he showed up in New Mutants, his first appearance. And then you get him like that. That was the Deadpool that I liked. And he hasn't been that way in a long time. So I couldn't give it the top because they focused too much on the goofiness. And I personally felt that they needed to spend more time with Wolverine than Deadpool. because I just wanted to see more of Wolverine because the way
Yeah,
he played it was just the way it needed to be. You know,
right,
more time with Gambit, more time with Blade, more time with Elektra. You know,
right.
even more time with Human Torch, with Johnny. You know, Johnny Storm himself.
Mhm.
Even some of the villains. Like I wanted more time with them than Deadpool because I already knew what I was gonna get. Am I right,
Right.
Rick? You knew what
No, for real. Your facts.
you sat down and watched it. You got it, right?
Well, I want to add too,
Right.
even the fight scenes. He's a silly goose in the fight scenes too.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't even get a break. I want to see how ruthless he is,
Yeah.
how he could still be serious with the blades and his fighting style, but also be a clown when need be. So it's too much silly. And then
Yes.
the I don't even know the word you would say, making everything a innuendo sexually,
Yes.
borderline,
Yes.
homophobic and stuff like that, and pushing that agenda. Deadpool wasn't really like that in the comics. He was, but to a certain extent, I feel like they focus on that a little bit too much.
Right. Well, in recent times,
Black
they've
people
really been
talking
pushing
one.
that out in the comics with him. So that, and I don't like it either way. You know what I
It
mean?
seemed like he had a full blown boyfriend in the movie. To me, that's what they made Peter out to be.
Oh, yeah.
That's the impression I got, is that was forced upon me. We'll just leave that there. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things with Deadpool. Like I always kind of like kept me really where I needed to be. I was always a Deathstroke fan anyway, because Deathstroke I feel like.
Hey, Slade Wilson.
So, but I do want to ask Laura something
Yes.
real quick. When we say Hugh Jackman, right? You may not be familiar with the MCU, or from a consumer standpoint, when you see a movie with Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds, what are your expectations? What do you feel? Is that something you would want to go see? Do you enjoy some of their movies already? Where are you at with Hugh and Ryan Reynolds?
Honestly, I don't know that I've seen a movie with them.
Because
Okay.
Hugh's very extensive in his resume. He does dancing movies like was it The Majestic?
The greatest showman on earth, Les
Yeah,
Miserables.
Greatest Showman.
I
He's
have
got a
seen
lot
The
of
Greatest
stuff. There's
Showman.
got to be
He
something
was the lead
somewhere with
character.
Hugh that you've
Yeah,
seen that you can
I
talk
liked
about.
him in the Greatest Showman.
You
Yeah,
like you like the singing, dancing, performing Hugh,
yeah,
because
I
he's pretty
do.
good at
He
that
was
too. I
really
think.
good in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I guess
definitely
I wouldn't know what to expect though. I mean, just good quality acting and someone who knows what they're doing. And so that's
right,
what I would expect. I mean, that if he'd been doing it for so long, then he should have perfected the craft that he's in.
right.
And sure, maybe he has things to learn, but I would expect a quality piece of movie if he's in it,
Hmm.
you know, based on what I know, you know.
And what
So
about Ryan? What about Ryan Reynolds? Are you familiar with Ryan Reynolds?
no.
No.
He's
Maybe some movies, maybe.
does the cell phone
Well, he
commercials
started
too.
in what? Van Wilder. He kind of blew up. Is what comedy. He kind of really started as a comedy guy.
He played Green Lantern
Um,
briefly once.
Green Lantern, The
Mm,
Proposal.
mm-mm,
Um,
Blade 3.
yeah,
mm-mm.
Blade. To see him with Blade again was a trip. So as you can see, like Marvel still has work to do. There's still people out here who are not in tune with the MCU, and
Yeah,
Think he does
not
the TV show
everyone's a fan.
commercials?
You know.
I think I recognize him in my brain. So I think I'm seeing a picture of him in my brain.
Mhm.
But
He voiced
again,
Pikachu, I think.
Oh yeah, he did
again,
do
if he's a good actor and he's been in all these movies, I'm just saying it blindly, then we should come to expect some quality and some care. And hey, I care about what I'm doing. I care about what I put out. I care about what people are seeing of me. And so that's what would expect, is that people to care about the movies and the scripts that they're doing.
Yeah. So even if you don't know anything about what you're watching, you expect it to be made how it's supposed to be made.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to have a look. It's supposed to be done right, and the actor's experience enough that his professionalism
Right.
should be where it needs to be. And I think Hugh has that respect. Not pretty much Ryan Reynolds. He's the wisecracking, comedic relief. But Hugh Jackman carried this movie for me.
Oh, for
Wolverine
sure.
definitely carried this movie. Now, Drew, let's chop up about the canon. You know what I'm saying? The MCU moving forward. They obviously dropped the Kang Dynasty stuff, right?
Right.
Well, how do you feel about not only? I felt it was kind of a shit show. The movie, like there was a lot of patching they had to do with the timeline. Because the TVA, I'm not a fan of. They did it well in Loki. The TVA worked in Loki, but in this movie, it's like, okay, we're just gonna fix every timeline with the TVA. The TVA feels like the Band-Aid. You know what I'm saying? In the MCU. So I want you to start there with the TVA, where you see this going, the casting of Robert Downey as Doom. Now, quickly, my opinion is, why would you tarnish a 10 plus year legacy of Iron Man? By making him, you live long enough to become the villain at this point. You know what I mean? So it's like, it feels like a move of desperation, in my opinion, with the MCU, because they kind of think they can't survive without Robert Downey or Chris Evans, which is why you saw Evans in this movie. And then why are you not letting the hype and the algorithm work for the movie that's coming out before you're dropping news of casting Doctor Doom? So it's like, what was really more important, revealing that Robert Downey's coming back as Doom to get the hype beast back up, or letting this movie do what it's got to do? I think they kind of knew Deadpool was a Wolverine movie, and not a throwaway, because I think it did its job to give us something in the meantime while they figure it out. But it's not a game changer or a resetter or Marvel Jesus, like Deadpool was saying in the movie. It's not. It's just gonna kind of fade into the trilogy. You know what I mean? So where you at with all of that with the MCU? If you were Kevin Feige and you had his seat, like give us the 411.
Okay, as far as the movies go, this is what I have to say. They had talked about Robert Downey coming back as King the Conqueror years, some time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so that they do this move it doesn't surprise me, but I'll say this. Is he Doctor Doom in an alternate universe where he's fighting what will be the current heroes in some way? Or is he the Doctor Doom? Because they're doing the Fantastic Four, so he's going to have to be in it. So by the way it looks, it's almost borderline like Robert Downey's going to be in another timeline, and then the Fantastic Four is going to be something else. So somebody else will play the actual Doctor Doom, the actual Victor Von Doom that we actually know.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm trying to figure out right now, because if he's
is he an addition or is he the main plot? Like,
right, is he the main plot for their secret war, something else? Or is he going to be the Fantastic Four, the main Doctor Doom, like the one we know from Latveria that commands respect and speaks in the third person and everything?
Which canon are we going with? You know what I mean? Yeah. We know the infamous timeline, the infamous Iron Man. I sent you that stuff. Was a later series where they switch bodies and consciousness and stuff like that. There's a couple what if stories in between, but it has happened in the comics. So depending on where they go and what they do with it, it could work. But here's the problem, Drew. Robert Downey Jr. did such a good job establishing that legacy and almost building the MCU, right? The house that Ruth built. Blade's Hank Aaron, right? And Babe Ruth is kind of Robert Downey.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the house that Ruth built. Why would you tarnish that and put whatever may happen with this Doom situation even close to something that's damn near flawless and perfect and like definition of legacy? And the like we said on the phone, one of the best castings in the past 25 years, bro. Then you're going to put him as someone else how many years later to try to recreate something that was lightning in a bottle that's not going to be recreated. It's a different time. And it's almost like the same guy driving. How can the same guy drive two cars, Drew? So I think I'm indifferent about it. He's going to do a great job. He's going to act his ass off. the part might be great, and if they get the right timeline and canon that goes with the comics, that's a success. But there's something about seeing Iron Man and everything that I love being the bad guy and being Doom, even if it is a cool story. There's no other actors. We can't put someone else on that may give us 10 years of solidness like Robert Downey did and has the same talent, if not better, but has that Doom twist of evil in there. There's more actors. I love Denzel. I love Russell Crowe. I love Robert Downey. But there's other people. There's billions of people in this earth, bro. This is how you know it's all a click and you got to pay to get in. And it's just like presidents. They're selected in Hollywood because there is no reason for him to be Dr. Doom. I don't care if he carried the MCU at one point and you think he's the cheat code to get it to where it needs to be. It feels weird, Drew. It just does something about it. Doesn't sit right and doesn't fit well with my heart, bro.
No, I understand what you're saying, and that's exactly what I'm saying. If he's the Dr. Doom, no, but if he's some alternate universe subplot thing, I'm like, all right, well, I could get behind that, but he can't be the Dr. Doom. Like that's
Dr.
Doom with
the humongous characters, bro.
No, it's not going to work that way. He can't. They're going to have to do something else. If they're doing the Fantastic Four, which they are, then they're going to have to do something differently. But Laura, what do you think about? Do you know who Robert Downey Jr. is? Okay.
Have you guys ever seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah,
that's classic. Yeah. Which they could never make a movie like that today.
No,
even White Chicks.
I saw that.
White Chicks is a cult classic, and Marlon even says the same thing. You know, you can't make a movie like that today.
I loved him in Tropic Thunder.
Wow, hilarious. But keep going. So, what do you think?
I didn't.
Iron Mans or nothing like that. You're not familiar with none of his Iron Man movies. Mm-hmm. We got to give you some homework, girl. You need some homework.
But again, he's a great actor. Just based on Tropic Thunder and what he did there. And it looks like I saw the video of him announcing that he would be doing it. Mm-hmm. And how everybody was so happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just speaks to how loved he is in that brand. So I think that's a good thing. It looks like people are incredibly happy that he's doing that. So again, I'm just saying it blindly because I've never seen any of the action movies. But it just appears to me that they're so happy that he's doing it. So
and that's good. That's good. You're giving us the voice of the consumer, literally, you know. So I don't know, Drew. Is he the pariah? Is he the savior of the MCU? Robert Downey? Is this the formula, broski? I don't think so.
I think he could be one of them. I think that he could be one of them. I think Evans is one. I think Hugh Jackman is one. I think
did the right thing with Hugh Jackman.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are also included in that.
Right.
I think that they play a huge part in that. So it's like there's certain players that you put in there. I even would say if you got Wesley Snipes back in the game, I think
another Blade. He needs to pass that. I don't know what's going on. Do you need to drop Laura? You want to drop her and bring it back? What happened? You lost her?
Looks like she had to take care of something.
Good. Okay.
But she's back in.
If you can make the Blade thing work, broski, I agree with you. They got to make Marshall Ali and they got to put Wesley in there. In the almost like, even if it's a multiverse thing, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. So we'll see, because Wesley's still got gas in his tank, man, like Sylvester Stallone. So you know, I'm kind of like, do we really want to pass over the torch exactly when Wesley does it the best, does it still great and looks fantastic? I'm like, do you still want to pass that torch? I don't know, because Wesley, to replace Wesley Snipes' Blade, that was some big shoes to fill, man. Like this guy, Ali, he's gonna have to really, 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 really train, because Wesley did amazing choreography, martial arts choreography.
Now let me pause you. Is that why you think the movie's getting rewritten 45 million times and paused? And they're having a hard time because it's not capturing the essence.
They can't find somebody that could do the sword play, the martial arts, and carry the coolness that is Blade. Because you can get all these fantastic actors, but if they can't make those stunts work and the martial arts look flawless, fantastic, it's not going to go. Because Wesley, he put a little extra on all his fight scenes.
I agree.
He popped his jacket, the blades that he would throw. I mean, Wesley was like just killing it, and he would cut into the ground. He'd take his blade, spin it around, and he'd cut in the ground and turn around. I'm like, you can't do that. That whole fight scene in Blade 2. Remember that fight scene in Blade 2 in his underground base when they invaded with the special armor with the night vision goggles?
Yeah.
And he said, turn on the floodlights. And he was bouncing off the walls you can't do that again unless somebody can really bring that. And the only two guys that come to mind that fit that archetype are Wesley Snipes and Michael Jai White. They're the only two that could possibly do something like that. Outside
I want Michael for the Ranger movie. I would love Michael as a Ninjetti. We'll see if OG can make that happen because Michael's giving me Silver Griffin vibes all day
I got
long.
it. When we're off camera, you and I will talk.
Yeah. Same with Ninjor. Scotty Atkins is Ninjor. Man, that helmet.
He's very cool. Viking has met him. He's very cool. Scott's great. So
and it don't even need to be a big part, but just having Ninjor's helmet.
He would be a doable guy with something like that.
Yeah, and having it be Scott Atkins would change the game. Like Boyka's one of my favorite parts.
Oh man, Undisputed.
Played. Yeah, you know what I mean? I love that movie. Boyka 2 is my shit. So yeah, man. I mean, let's segue into, since we're in the MCU, right? We talked about Doom. Shout to Wesley. Demolition Man's one of my favorite movies too, bro. Him and Sly. So it's like, I agree. I think the Blade thing is gonna be an issue. So is Feige done? Do you think Feige's past his prime? You can even talk a little bit about James Gunn. Do you think Marvel has to worry about DC a little bit as far as James Gunn, what he's got coming? Superman's on the horizon. You know what I mean? I know Laura said she was a Smallville fan. We'll talk about a little bit of DC stuff if you want. So where do you guys see the culture shifting? Do you think DC has a shot? Obviously, we're fighting for Power Rangers. You know the crew. Where that's a separate baby to us. We're all Rangers. But this show's about the culture as a whole, right? So we got DC on deck, and we got Marvel starting up again. So cover a little bit of that from a broad perspective, with all that stuff coming out. Like, where do you see the climate shifting and this going as far as the culture right now? With who's running the show and who's got a shot, who's really shifting stuff, that kind of thing.
DC really has to figure out something because they've had some good building ideas at times, but then the whole thing together is just it doesn't work. Like, you have a good piece and then that's it, or you have something that could be a good piece and then you sell it short. So they have a lot of that. So they would have to really up their game. Their biggest mistake was not having Henry Cavill. Just have him continue being Superman and write him a better Superman story. That's all they need to do.
And speaking of, segue that into what you thought about him as Wolverine. He looked pretty good, bro.
Yeah, he did.
Cavill, we forgot about that. He was a cameo. Spoiler alert. You know what I mean? I like the way he looked.
He can work. So if they're not going to give him Superman, then if they don't want Hugh to, if Hugh doesn't want to continue, then I think he'd be the next best option.
You think so? What about Daniel Radcliffe because of the height issue?
Oh gosh, no.
Harry Potter. You like the Harry Potter books?
He's Laura? Harry Potter. Go have him sit over there. No.
Are you a Harry Potter fan, Laura?
I've never read the books.
No. Have you seen the movies? There's a lot of movies too. No. Okay, so Harry Potter's not out here either. I was gonna say.
I guess I'm boring. I haven't owned a TV in 10 years.
But it's good because you're a good gauge of how the marketing out here for this stuff gets to people like you. who
Yeah,
aren't as engaged, who care about culture as much.
absolutely.
So that's good. Your perspective is still important. So, yeah, keep going, Drew. Keep cooking, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, Henry, if they wrote him a good Superman story,
Mhm.
a really good one, he would kill it. He would kill
Yeah,
it easy. They wouldn't have to bring in another guy, but of course they chose to do that. So whatever.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
still think that there's a place for him. Batman is always a hot number if you do him correctly. He's my favorite DC character. So
I think Echoes would be great. The guy from Supernatural, Soldier Boy from The Boys.
you know who I want? The guy that's playing Jack Reacher.
He wouldn't be bad either. He's got the chin and the look too. They
I
gotta
think
give
he
him
would
black
really
hair
do
though.
something.
Go ahead, Laura.
So, if we're all aware of Batman's son,
Yeah.
he's doing Batman, and Jason Font is going to be
Yeah,
Batman
you don't
now.
look bad. You don't look bad.
So I'm excited about that. I will go and see that one because I
Yeah,
love Jason Font. So
there you go.
I will go and see
You
him.
love.
I'll go and see that Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Batman I used to watch was the old one with Adam West and Burt Ward.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that
66.
one. I love it.
Yeah.
Um
What do you think about
and
that, Drew?
and so
Okay. I've met
I
Adam
love
West and
Bats.
I've met Burt Ward. I've met them. I met them
Yeah.
both.
What else, Laura? Go ahead. What else?
I love how cheesy it is now. I love it. It's like
Really?
it's so great. It's so cheesy. It's so great. I love
So
it.
nostalgia. I mean, we're Power Ranger fans. We love cheese. You know what I mean? We definitely love cheese.
What did
So, but
Jason
that's
say? Jason used to say it ain't easy being cheesy.
yeah, exactly. So, but we're gonna get that right because Power Rangers is ready to evolve. I think that fan film they did that Jason said was a little too graphic and too, I know JDF really wanted to push the brink of PG-13 and evolve it. So I kind of want to stay around the Cobra Kai energy, but a little bit. We need a great CGI team. Great animation can save it. I said it the other day on Henry's, but what else we got you? Let's segue into where we were with Doom, right? So we know Fantastic Four is coming.
Can I touch on Batman real quick though?
Yeah, finish
Just
your Batman.
real fast. Batman is my favorite comic book character of all time. I've read everything from Detective Comics issue 27, 1939 up until 2012 as being consistent. I went through everything. Okay, so Batman's my favorite character. Like I said, I met Adam West. He was a very nice guy. Burt Ward was super cool. Julie Newmar, very classy lady. But you know what I know, Rican? The actual Batman is nothing like Adam West. He's he's a very skilled martial artist. His comic book stories are very dark, and he's the guy you don't want to run into if you're a criminal.
Dark Knight.
He's bringing it, and so he is the Dark Knight.
So what's your favorite iteration then? While you're there,
okay, so I would say number one, Kevin Conroy is the best Batman because he was the best voice, and he did in the animated series. He was the king. In the video games, he was the king. So, and I've met Kevin Conroy about 2-3 times. Luke's first comic book convention, he got to see Kevin Conroy when he was like, I don't know, maybe 7 months old. And so,
that's cool.
But live action, I would have to say Ben Affleck was the most accurate. He was the most accurate to what we have the Batman. He wore the black and gray suit. He definitely had the fighting prowess down perfectly. He fed into the comic book illusion of Batman because like Christian Bale was cool, but they try to make him a realistic Batman. If Batman existed in this world today, so everything had to make sense. All his gear, his car, it had to be something that we had or could have, right? But they got away from the comic book side. And the thing about Ben Affleck was they went back to bringing that comic book image and edge that we needed. They just needed to really give us that movie and platform for them. And they
Right.
were supposed to do, you know about the project, right? They were supposed to do.
Yeah, they gave us a little bit of that Frank Miller Batman in Batfleck, but they were supposed to give him a Deathstroke movie. The
Yes. And they had Joe Manganiello play
Maglione,
Deathstroke. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
That's what
I
I
love
was waiting
Batman.
for. Yeah.
Listen, I say this with my comic shop all the time. Batman and Spider-Man pay the bills.
Yes.
Anytime I need to go get inventory and I know I need stuff to move, I'm getting Batman runs, Spider-Man runs, and Power Rangers. Just because I love, me. It's Morgan time all the time. You know what I'm saying? But those are my three. So your love for Batman and the Bat family and the Batverse down to the games when Arkham Asylum came out, all of that game changer. Batman is a game changer.
Yeah.
And he's always, that's why there's a joke and a meme. Batman can beat anybody with prep time because that's why, people love him. He's one step ahead. So that's what I love about him. But without that darkness and the campiness, and it's crazy you didn't say Keaton because a lot of people's Batman is Michael Keaton and the Burton verse and all that stuff. But I agree with you 100%. My Batman is Batfleck.
Yeah.
The energy, the darkness. That's my favorite iteration from Batman. And I say that because watch Batman vs. Superman when he saves Superman's mom.
Oh, yes.
Like,
that's the best scene.
That is how it was like watching the comic book frames.
Yes.
That's the brutalness. He even got stabbed like that. Whoever choreographed that fight in B vs. S, Zack Snyder. I love the 4-hour Snyder cut. I don't know why they did not give the DCEU to Zack Snyder. That was a mistake. So other than how Steppenwolf looked a little bit, they made him look better in the cut, but the armor was kind of cheesy. But I have a love for DC just because of Batman. And then Soups is a representation of my father because the first comic book run my father dropped in my lap was The Death of Superman.
Okay.
And the pole, you know what I mean? Doomsday.
I remember that. Yeah.
All the Supermen coming out, the Cyber One, Superboy. So then I found, Spider-Man, the animated series, and then Batman, the animated series. Those two series was it. And then it was Turtles, Rangers, Street Sharks, SWAT Cats, Tailspin. You know what I'm saying? It was an era. What a time to be alive. All the stuff that's coming back. I was just in the comic shop and the Disney villain books are doing great with Scar and Maleficent. So nostalgia's up right now. A lot of this movie and what's going on with the MCU, they're banking on nostalgia, but the microwave shit isn't working. So now they got to get back to stop putting so much, focus on quality over quantity, right? Moon Knight kind of missed the mark for me, had its potential. We're the Midnight Suns. I love the Midnight Suns. Hopefully Punisher's coming, Daredevil's coming, right? Hopefully, you know what I mean? The MCU's not dead yet, but they're not moving the pieces right, and it's chess out here. So basically, that's all I got for Wolverine and Deadpool. Go see the movie. It's worth seeing. It felt like a patchwork. It felt like a patch job. But it's important. It's important. You can tell they're trying and they're paying attention, and they know they got to get it right. Let's leave it there. So I give it about a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Loved Hugh. Loved them in the suit.
Oh yeah.
The storyline, it's kind of like Multiverse feels like a Band-Aid. The Multiverse saga for me, it's not as cohesive as the Infinity Saga, but it's still Marvel, and I got a thing for Marvel. It's always my first love. You know what I mean? And I'm rooting for DC, and of course, redemption and resurrection for the Power Rangers. So that's where I stand. But where you at with the Captain America and the next phase and everything like that?
I can't unsee that it's not Steve Rogers. That it's still.
Do you foresee this reset? Is it possible in the direction that you're seeing these movies and these previews dropping? Do you think the MCU will ever reach the peak it was before? And do you agree and see what they're trying to do? And do you think it'll hit?
Okay, in order for that to happen, they would have to make the X-Men so flawlessly good and the Fantastic Four so flawlessly good. That is the only way. Yeah, that's the only way it's going to work. If they fumble slightly, it will not work. And right now, they cannot afford to do that because everyone has been waiting to get some good stuff. They gave that X-Men cartoon. They did all this stuff to bring the X-Men. They've been talking and talking. And if they don't make this right, I'm telling you, there will be riots in the street if this is not right for the X-Men. It will be over. It'll be over. So they got to get this right. And the Fantastic Four, as many trials and errors as they've had with the Fantastic Four, they got
time.
They've done too many movies.
Yeah.
They've done what? Let's see. There was the original movie. There was the other two, and then there was the one with Michael.
Yeah, it's past third time's a charm. It's past that already.
You haven't worked. So it's like, okay, you really the original movie, the Roger Corman, the low budget one, was actually more true to the original traditional comics. It just didn't have a big budget, but I could say at least it was true to the original material to a point. And Dr. Doom was Dr. Doom, so I could say that. But after that, it hasn't been a good run for them. So now
I don't think Downey's going to save them, bro. I don't think Downey's going to be enough. They got to do more building, more cutscenes after the credits. To repeat the Infinity Saga. It's damn near flawless. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I got an idea though. Let me know what you think about this. They need to do something with Ghost Rider.
Yeah, he's a game changer.
He is a game changer.
He can be like in the movie. They said, what did they call Wolverine when he died? He was like a makeshift in the timeline, like an immovable point, like that started to decay the universe. Do you remember in the movie what they called him?
Wolverine in the Deadpool movie?
Yeah, the one that we just saw. He was a type of being that he referred him to, Paradox. I can't remember what he called him, but he was a fixed point in the timeline that once he died, it withered away the time. I feel like Ghost Rider.
They just said he was an important key player. I know they kept, or the main chess piece.
Yeah, there was a specific word. I can't throw it in the comments if you guys remember. But I think Ghost Rider, you're right, absolutely. He's important. They got
and Norman Reedus should probably play him.
Midnight Suns, bro. They should segue from X-Men, Fantastic Four, and then your third hit, your uppercut for the combo, give us some Midnight Suns with the darker, more rated R element stuff, Add Daredevil, Punisher in there. Let those guys really shine. Let the Midnight Sun be the explicit. Even the comics, they used to have a darker look that, it
was the Marvel Knights.
The Punisher Max runs. Yeah. Remember that kind of stuff?
That was the Garth Ennis Punisher. I've got the whole series over here.
Yeah, bro. People like that shit. And I think if they get Berthal involved, the guy they got for Daredevil's good. Elektra was okay. They got something there. Keep the Defenders thing going like they had on Netflix. That can be your rated R side. You branch off from Deadpool into some Midnight Sun stuff. Get Ghost Rider right. Let Punisher be Punisher. And let Daredevil shine, because Daredevil can bring you Spider-Man money if you do him right. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
It's going to be exciting to watch. We're going to do a bunch of these, bro. You basically let us know. We're at 45 right now. You want to take it to the hour?
We'll see. I want to hear Laura. Now that you hear me and Rican nerding out over our comic book love that we have, obviously me with my outfit. What are your thoughts? Number one, Laura, what do you want to see movie-wise? What would you want to see as a consumer? What is the thing that you want to see?
Yeah. What do you connect with right now? What's hitting for you?
I want to see Smallville come back.
You like Smallville? That was a good show. Right?
I want them to do
reunion
Smallville
flick?
Forever.
Yeah, like a reunion flick. Okay.
Yeah, because I love Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. I loved him as Lex Luthor. And unfortunately, I used to really love Allison Mack. I loved her. Oh my gosh. And I was so heartbroken when I found out what she was into. I'm like, no, please, no.
Well,
Um,
The lady from Charm died too. Were you into Charmed
I
at
know,
all?
I
Shannon
love
Doherty.
Charmed. Yeah, Shannon Doherty.
Oh man, I got some
Those
stories
books,
about
they're
Shannon
hot right
Doherty.
now. All the
I
Charm books,
love
all the
Charmed. I grew
Laura,
up.
do you know about her when she was younger on 90120? What she was like?
I didn't ever see that. No.
I had a friend of mine that was at a party of hers back in the early 90s when the show came out, and she had put hands on quite a few people. She was known for being rough and being drunk and getting brutal and brawling with people.
yeah, I
Yeah.
heard. I heard.
That's what I unfortunately what I think of when I think of Shannon Doherty.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was always in the news for that back in the day. They're like, Shannon Doherty got busted with another DUI. She put hands on somebody. She,
She
you
liked
know,
the
she
sauce.
was,
Wow.
yeah.
I hope she's resting in peace. I
Yeah,
hope that she found peace that she
Right.
find in this world.
they go
I
So,
down.
did hear that she changed and she got better, and a lot of people accredited that, unfortunately, to the cancer that she had. You know,
Maybe
like
that's what
that she
humbled
got
her.
that, and that kind of changed a lot of things for her. Maybe she didn't take life for granted as much, and I heard she became a better person. That's what I heard.
yeah,
What was the last trailer you saw,
uh,
Laura?
my grandfather died of cancer. What was that, Rican?
What was the last movie trailer you saw? Like anything new coming out? Do you remember? What was the last movie trailer you saw that kind of intrigued you?
Um, not in the not on the big screen, but
Mm.
going back to Jason Font, I just saw something on Instagram. He had got a movie coming up. The Old Friend, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Like a
it's
Tubi movie?
really, huh?
Like a Tubi movie? Like straight to the apps, or he's got it coming out in theaters?
I'm not sure, but they've been showing a lot of behind the scenes footage of it, and so it looked really cute, and so um, I will definitely see that. Um,
Definitely.
and of course, I'm excited for the Jason Font as Batman. So I
Mm.
want to see where they go with that,
And of
and how
course,
they.
Legend of the White Dragon too, right? We hope
Oh,
that comes out.
I am so excited for that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
want to see Jason do his thing. I really do.
yeah.
I hope they do right by him. You know, you did we get your opinion on that, Drew? Because Drew missed the stream. Where you at with White Dragon, Drew? Before we get out of here, I'll touch on it.
When I saw Jason last, he had the White Dragon helmet, you know, on the table and everything.
Right.
So he was really trying to push that project through, and I know Aaron has it. I know Aaron's like a bit of like a perfectionist and trying to make sure things are done properly. So I
Right.
think it's gonna happen. You know,
Oh
people
yeah.
it's not gonna happen. No, it'll happen. But
It will
it's just,
happen.
he's trying to make sure that things are that they flow really nicely and that
Right.
he pays tribute to his friend in the right way. And
Right.
Yeah,
people respect
I
that.
I think he's trying to do right by Jason. That's why it's taking so long because he wants to get every little detail right. So
Right.
and Jason loved him. So I
Yeah.
don't think that he would ever do anything to intentionally harm his honor or his memory.
Well, I was watching the playback and I saw Henry was playing a clip of Aaron, and he did say that he was like, "This is the last time people are gonna see Jason. This is his masterpiece." Like, I think what you're saying, it's a little bit of that perfectionist going on. He's editing so much that he knows this movie has to compete at a level that's above it almost. So he's trying to do everything he can to give it that last. Even if it takes a while to come out, it's gonna have the staying power of being the end of the door closing on Jason's legacy.
And
So
can you
when I heard
imagine?
that, I was like, okay, you know,
And can you imagine your friend dying and then you having to go every day and watching and editing and seeing that footage of him every single day? You that can weigh heavily on a person.
oh
So I'm
yeah,
assuming that him editing and mostly by himself
mhm,
has really taken a toll on him, because of he was so close and having to go back. And while it's an honor, I'm
mhm,
sure there are nights that he can't even do it, that
Yeah, I can see that. I think that.
looks at it and said, you know what, I can't tonight. I can't because of this grief is so overwhelming that I'm not even going to touch it for tonight. I can't.
Mhm.
So I think it's about us being patient with Aaron because first of all, he's only human. Second, he lost his friend. Third, he's the only one that's editing this. And like Drew said, is he's a perfectionist and he's trying to do what he can to honor Jason. And so I think that grace and forgiveness towards Aaron would be a relief for him instead of the pressure of when's it coming out, when is it coming out,
Right.
when is it coming out, because he's already under a lot of pressure himself.
Well, is there pressure with timing? Is timing an issue? Do you believe that the timing of it not coming out is hurting the situation?
No,
No. You think as long as it looks and comes out how it's supposed to come out, doesn't matter when it comes out, it's just got to be right. You're good with
right.
it. You're
Yeah.
willing.
Good
I
things
would
come
agree.
to people who wait and, all that patient stuff. And again, given what's happened, I don't see why we can't be patient with Aaron and forgiving because, again, he's going through a lot. I
And
mean,
it's
can you
right.
imagine?
It's the last we got of him. When it
Um,
comes, what comes, we get to enjoy Jason as much as we want once it's finally out. You know what I mean?
Right,
So I agree
right.
with that. Let's get it right. It better be right, boy. It better be right because you know what I mean. I'm gonna watch it as if JDF was sitting right next to me in the theater, watching it. You know?
Let me jump in real quick, guys, for both of you.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm going to say. Rican, you love The Crow, right?
Yeah, it's a good movie. I love Brandon
Okay.
Lee.
Brandon Lee,
Okay. Brandon Lee. Okay. You guys know he died on the movie set and they were not finished with everything yet. So they were not going to release it, but you had to wait a little bit longer for them to get things done where they had to use a stand-in for Brandon, different things where he didn't complete certain scenes, things like that. He completed pretty much most of the movie. There was just a few things that he was going back to tape that didn't get finished.
Right.
So they had to go back and do that. And we had to wait a while till it came out. And then when it came out, what happened? Huge hit. And his best performance, right? So, I mean, we got to think about it like that. We got to think about it like The Crow.
Mhm.
That's literally how we have to think it, which is eerie because both of them are gone. You know, you have to think about that. Brandon was 28 when that happened, when he died. His father was 32. Bruce was 32 when he died. So, I mean, yeah.
I just think we should give Aaron a break. Give him some
Yeah, as long
forgiveness.
as he delivers, I'm cool with it. Take all the time you need, but it better be out.
Let him breathe because right now he probably feels like he's suffocated because he's got all this going on and it's closing in and he's like, I just want to breathe, so just let's all bring it down. Okay, Aaron, we understand. We get it. We lost a good man.
Mhm.
We will be patient and we will allow you to do what you do. And by doing that, that relieves that pressure and that will make it so that he feels that because when you're under pressure, your creative juices are stifled. You can't breathe. Your mind is racing and whatnot. If you let him breathe, maybe that'll come back. Maybe that will get his gears going again, and he'll feel safe enough
Mhm.
to do something. You know, I just think that the pressure that he's under is
Well, I'm down. I mean, I even have an idea. I said it on Henry's show. I think he should do like the Matrix. They filmed the Matrix 2 and 3 together. You know what I mean? So he's got the first movie done. Do the Star Wars route. Keep White Dragon as a prequel. Now it's been so much time. Say, hey, White Dragon's done, but I've also got this in the cut. Instead of doing a Batman project, you should be doing Dragoness with Jenna and making your Empire Strikes Back, right? And make Jenna the Dragoness. And then that way, when you drop Jenna's movie, you can almost drop White Dragon as the prequel right before it and do something no one's ever done. Drop number 2 with number 1. Drop a part 1 and a part 2 like Twilight did back in the day. Or Harry Potter, or Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no rules to creativity. And if we're having an issue with timing, flip the script, bro. All right, here, the movie's done. Give us more pieces of it. Let us even vote or talk to the fans. What if I did this with Jenna and extended the timeline but shot y'all back with a flashback movie and gave you Jason? Either way, we get Jason and it helps the movement. Then they're going to want a third movie where you could do some Tron. Was it where they resurrected him in CGI? What was the Tron movie? Legacy? Is it Legacy?
Oh, were they de-aged Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, like, or they did with Paul Walker. You know what I'm saying? You can even get away with a little bit of that on the third one, just to give us a third movie, and then you solidify yourself as the White Dragon trilogy. You honor Jason with that. You launch Jenna, and then you did your job, bro. I feel like Aaron can then focus on himself if he wants to make himself a star, if he wants to do more superhero beatdowns, he wants to do the Fawn Batman, whatever he wants to do. You have to clear the JDF smoke because he literally gave you his power coins. He turned, you know what I mean? You have the end of his legacy, the end of the tunnel. So that's what I would do. I would turn it into a whole saga to honor Jason and make us wait, like you said, with grace. Communicate with the fans, compromise, and say, you know what, for being so patient, I'm going to give y'all a whole universe, let alone one movie. Let's honor Jason by making sure Jenna has a career and is out here signing signatures on White Dragon helmets because that's her movie side. You know what I mean? That's where I'm standing with Legend of the White Dragon. I'm Team Frank, Team Jason. If that's really his, then it needs to be used as a weapon for his family and his legacy to keep going and for them to eat and make sure they're good, Tammy included, you know, whether it's Power Rangers or not. So that's what I want to see. So we'll see. You know, the clock is ticking. I think I disagree with Laura to the point where it's just timing is the only issue. Everything she said is right on the money. That's the way to go about it. But timing still is an issue. You know, you got to strike when the iron's hot. You only, you know, but if it comes out okay, I think it'll be okay too. So I'm willing to forgive the timing. You know what I mean? As long as it looks how it's supposed to look and you did the boy right. So what else we got, Drewski?
I think that covers everything, guys.
Yeah. So how often? This is a weekly thing, right?
Yeah, we're trying to squeeze in. We do a solo video piece, and then we try to do one together. And I think we're gonna, if you're up for it, we'll be doing movie reviews. If people really want to see us come out, we'll do more movie reviews. We'll go back to some vintage movie reviews, and talk about where I'll really lay into some really interesting films, and
classics, man. Let's go into our OG classic mode. You know what I mean? You could even do a martial arts list. Themer list and give them martial arts movies. Give them homework, and I'll give them comic book stuff, culture stuff. And then Laura can give them her own perspective on what she entertains herself energy wise. It's all about what you consume, what you watch, what you read, which is important. So, this would be a good spot for you to talk about all of that, all the stuff that shaped Drew Danger and Rican and Laura. The culture is important. What society is feeding us and shaping us to think like and act like. We got to stay connected to. But take us out, Drew. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for movie date night with Drew and Rican and our special guest, Lady Laura from our channel KoD that has joined us today. Thank you for coming, Laura. We want to just give a shout out to Renee for allowing us to come and do all this silly stuff and tell the consumer. We want to give a shout out to Green Tea, to Angel, to everyone that's involved with us. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you guys think.
Yes,
and what I did, you have, So I would say, hey, get ready to join us next time, next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll go from there. Thank you, guys.
All right. Salute.